Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Le Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously.
Okay, Tahbilk. This is from Central Victoria. It's one of the oldest wineries in Australia. It was established in 1860. In 2016, it was on the top vineyards of Halliday, and
it's a vegan wine.
All wine's vegan.
Zero,
all wine's vegan. They don't put pork in wine.
That's why he wasn't saying anything. He's on the green side.
And so it's a 2013 Cab Sav. So it's 100% Cab Sav. I think this is going to own the other two wines today, and it was quite cheap actually. So we'll see how we go. Bring your glass over.
Sorry guys, there's a carbon zero label on the back, so it's an environmentally friendly wine. So it's made out of 100% recycled plastics.
Cheers, boys. God, I feel like so close to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi after 3 glasses, I guess.
Smell that.
Listen, it's nice.
It said Australian One Nation Party, but it's the Australian First Family.
Stand up. No, so actually,
That's bloody good.
it's quite nice. It's old, but this is the thing. It doesn't have the structure. If you give it 2 seconds, it's gone. It's gone linear. Where the other one.
Sounds like Chris in bed.
Because you'd know.
Okay, let's move on. I know it's still so.
I wouldn't know, mate.
He's still so he can't sit down.
Oh no.
Can we talk about March for a second?
Sorry, I'm confusing with the Stoics. We're already up to May, April, May, June.
March. Banking Royal Commission. March. Coronavirus. March. Floods. March. All different years. I'm thinking of going on holidays.
We were going to go through all of these things anyway. So it's crazy, isn't it? Because about a little bit more than, 15 months ago, we started with the flood. Then it went to the fire. Then we start COVID. And now we're back here.
Fire, flood.
But this time it's pretty big. Yeah. I feel for these people. I mean, how many people can really stand back up, even if they're resilient after 4 knocks?
We talk about the resilience here. And there's everyone got affected by the bushfires, okay? But there's a lot of the same people who get affected by the floods at the same time. And it happened in 2015. Areas like Taree and Port Macquarie that were absolutely smashed by the bushfires are now completely smashed by the
floods, the
floods. There's areas, up our way in the mountains. And, I'm lucky I live on top of a mountain that some of our areas were affected by the bushfires, but we'll never be affected by a flood. If we do, the rest of the world's in trouble. Your carbon zero wine's not going to save us. And it's those people that you just, mate, houses can be replaced, but how much can the human spirit take? Business owners, how many times can you get back up? And it's not even from small stuff, The fires don't take 4 minutes to recover from, but COVID distracted from all that. And now they're completely underwater. You talk about the resilience. It's going to be tested, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel for them, man.
And, it's going to be hard, man. It's been big, and I didn't realise how close it was to home. I mean, a few people we know have been directly affected.
Yeah.
So,
I think that one of the things that we need to be doing is to become more and more giving. All of us, and really pay attention to our neighbor and what's happening. If we start from there, that's going to be a good start already. I mean, boys, you know that I'm trying to set up Empower for the moment to help people who have suffered through the year of COVID. And it's about everyone trying to do their best, I watched Wayne Bennett last week giving a bit of a talk. And Wayne Bennett was talking in his book especially, but he was trying to, he said a few of those similar things in his speech, but when Bennett talks about being involved and being committed, every one of us try to be involved when it comes to this kind of catastrophe, but we need to be committed. And being committed, it means that, we're going to have to sweat. We have to go the extra mile. We have to do things that we normally wouldn't do, that demand sacrifices, the things that we'd love to be doing, but we gonna have to forego in order to help. And I think that's what it takes. I think Australia would be a much better place if we could really do this. I mean, in my talk, I was having a chat with Wayne, and I said, you know what, I'm not Australian born. And people are going to have to ask themselves, no, I could have been a Vietnamese Australia born. So I'm not Australia born. And I don't even speak Vietnamese properly. I'm probably the only Vietnamese that's asking for a fork in an Asian restaurant.
I witnessed that.
Yeah, you saw it.
that.
Yeah, okay. Well, so why would I want to do this? And mainly because I live in this country. So if we can't see ourselves as a human being and do our best to help, then what are we doing? You know, and I think that's what Australia's going through. Yes, we pull through COVID mainly because I think that the Australian population was more disciplined than anybody else. But we're starting to be tired of all of these issues, and this is where resilience being tested. Resilience not tested when you get one thing and you just bounce back. Resilience tested when you got 4 or 5 things and you just bounce back. But it's more than that. Those of us who are doing well, we need to go out there and really try and help the rest of the population.
Here's the problem with people that are just doing it for social media likes, because you can't put a photo up for every cause that needs to be on at the moment. That's the difference between being involved. Oh, yeah, I went and helped for 4 minutes so I could get a post on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or being committed, which is doing it without. Try doing something good for the world without putting it on Instagram. There's your challenge. That will tell you whether you can really sleep at night. And that's I think we've got a lot of people. You know, the Anzac spirit, we talk about all that stuff, and even though I think we've spoken on here before about it being slowly eroded away, I think there are enough people in the country that still have that in them. You see that daily, but for anyone else who's pretending to have that in them or doing it, wearing a uniform for show, maybe it's time you have a look and dig deep.
You know, there's a handful of people, I think, that are using social media for the right purpose. In circumstances like we're going through with the floods, they can put it out there and raise money. And I know a lot of people did that through the fires, but unfortunately they weren't directed the right way and the right people weren't doing it. You need to get the right people to doing it. But I think social media can play a good role in that as well.
Yeah, it can, but then you get the situation where they had the fundraiser for the bushfires with that comedian, and because everyone was just that keen to have their 5 minutes of social media fame, they didn't realise that all the money that they're donating couldn't actually go to anyone who they could help. It all went to the RFS, because I'll never forget the Lint Cafe shootings, right?
The Lint, in the city, Martin Place.
Yeah. The amount of people on my timeline who went to Martin Place to lay a flower down but took a selfie while they were doing it. I went today to pay tribute.
Can you just tell us all their names so that we can actually shame them on our podcast?
Yeah, but I went to Martin Place today to pay tribute. You weren't there to pay tribute. You're there to get a photo for social media. Right? And you're willing to catch a train and go to the city to do it if you're there to pay tribute. And that's the sort of mentality I'm talking about. That's where...
All right, here's the thing. The flowers, the social media. Should they not be there with the flowers and miss out on their nice photos?
What are you doing things for? We spoke about it. That's the book. Why?
I get it. But
if they can honestly sit with themselves and say, "I'm here for the right reasons, and while I'm here, I'm going to take a photo," different story. What are the chances, though?
I think a lot of people do believe that, though. That's the unfortunate thing. Again,
they want people to believe that.
But maybe they took a photo to send to their friends, so to let their friends know, hey, listen, guys, come down here and do the same as me.
Character is what you're doing when no one's watching.
I get it, but we need to explore the other side, bro. We're not here to talk stories.
That's what I got you two for. I got my side.
God. Okay, so let's have a look. What else happened this month? 1 year of COVID shutdown.
People fighting over whether the vaccine's good or the vaccine's bad.
This week represent 1 year of shutdown. For a lot of elderly, it's a year of being isolated. We know that.
There's that. There's AstraZeneca.
Virus.
My parents, for example, in Belgium, they're still isolated, even though they just got their first shot of Pfizer. They just got their first shot, and mum and dad, mum is dancing, saying, "No, we got no side effects, nothing at all. And I look at that and I'm thinking, Dad, you've aged.
Do you think that's because of just being isolated?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, mate, try to be isolated for a year.
There's a reason that people in solitary confinement go mental, mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me.
Sorry, that's a horrible word. But
You tell me, when you're 91, he's 91 now, and you go into a year of isolation, it's not a year for you. It's the last seconds of your life, right? And so you go through a time when you're now thinking, hold on, am I dead already?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of things, and from the moment at our age, if we walk in long enough or far enough, we actually would feel fitter. We actually would lose weight. But at 91, how far could you walk? You know, so I think that for people who've been isolated for a year in Europe, it's mad.
That isolation for your dad would have been very hard. And you're right in saying that a lot of stimulation that I know that the elderly need and so forth would have been missing.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect him considerably.
Let's try and be controversial, but how many of our elderly actually contracted disease like Alzheimer or other disease because of this isolation?
You'll never hear
You tell
about
me. How? All right, it's not been found, therefore my fake news has got some leg to stand on. But who's to say they'd been locked up in the room, not being able to touch their loved ones has not affected them at their age?
They've proven that newborn babies need the touch of human. They need, and it doesn't need to be the mother. They just need to be held. They just need to be held to develop.
What the elderly can't?
So that's exactly what I was going to say.
And this is some of the things.
it's across all aspects, TL, because how many divorces are because of the
Too much
lockdown
touching.
And well, mate,
in Parliament.
I've been called out. I've been called out to more separations than ever before in my career. And I don't think that's a coincidence. How many we've spoken about before? How many other deaths have been caused by the actions that were taken because of this disease, outside of the disease itself? Now we can't even get people to agree whether the vaccine's good, bad, or otherwise. They're rolling it out, but then they're stopping it. The government's now got a website for vaccine misinformation. I'm sorry, but how do we know that you're not giving the misinformation?
But I think that COVID also has shown that we are giving a few hundreds people at the top of our governmental tree, right, the opportunity or the ability to make a decision for the rest of the population. We need to be careful too, right? Because this is where the cynicism happen. Like, my children have already asked me, if the vaccine was here, what do we do now, Dad? And I said, whatever you guys want. I need to go back to Belgium and visit my parents. I will take the vaccine. That goes without saying. And my twins actually said to me, they're 13, they said, we're not having it. So they will forego visiting their grandparents because, yes, they've got so many years ahead of them.
But it's amongst the kids. So I've got a son the same age as your twins, and they're all over YouTube doing polls and doing spoofs and memes about not taking the vaccine. So that's popular culture for kids their age at the moment. I don't think they the twins might be different because they're very well informed generally, but generally speaking, you've got all these kids saying, I won't take it, without knowing really why they're not taking it, because it's popular. But I tend to agree with them, though.
I understand that. But have you been following the news today that in Brazil, there is a surge and looks like the third wave is really bad, but it's now hitting the young people?
Wow.
Now, you're now the parents. What do you do?
Well,
what do you tell your child?
I ask you because you just said you didn't tell yours. You said do whatever you want, and I go.
Yeah, but that's my choice. What is your choice? Are you going to do whatever you want, or do what I think is right for you?
Probably because I'm a control freak, and I would do what I say.
And here you go.
So I think if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for my children. I'd have to go first.
We'll die at the same time.
Exactly right. Or turn into zombies, whichever one happens first.
I'm not going to. I won't take anything unless, because I've been sceptical about the whole disease the whole time. Anyway, I'm not going to take it. I don't have a situation where I need to fly to another country to be around.
Yeah.
I do have. My mum won't get on a plane and won't even get on a plane in July to come to Noosa with us. So we're going to drive. So maybe I need to think deeper
in
about
your new
that.
car.
Hopefully. maybe I need to think harder about that. But TL and I have spoken about this. If it came to a situation where I had to take it, I wouldn't put it on the kids. There's no way. I wouldn't put it on
I think as adults, as kids our age, you've got, how old are your kids? You've got your
13,
eldest
9 and 5.
13, 9 and 5. Mine's
14,
13
9
and
and
15. I'd have that conversation with them and make my choice their choice.
Yeah.
And have that, sell it to them. And
Yeah.
but I would lead by example and I would take it first. However, my choice is at the moment, not to have it done,
Okay.
not to take it.
Why is that?
I don't believe it's necessary.
Why is that?
Because I want to see if there is any side effects. I want to see what happens to the majority of people happening, if it's effective. Because really, everyone's calling it as a vaccine, but are we sure that it stops it?
Yeah. Well,
I still come back to the flu kills more people. More people have died from suicide.
We had that conversation.
All that sort of stuff. That's where I come back to. So why are we rushing to put this unproven stuff in our bodies for something that on the mortality rate side of things is lower than a lot of other stuff? Right. And that goes back to when this all first started and we thought it was a massive overreaction. I haven't changed from that. Yeah. We've all become used to it.
Where I think they should start with the vaccine is anyone who's flying home must have the vaccine.
Yeah. Stop letting people into the country.
All right? You must do your 14 days overseas, get the vaccine, then you hop on the plane. What about that one?
Perfect.
Huh? So you either have a passport of vaccination to get out of the country, or you get your vaccination, which is 2 shots, by the way. So my parents are the Pfizer. So the Pfizer is 1 month apart between first and second shot. But you got to come back, get a vaccine, isolate yourself, then you can hop on the plane and come over here. Why do we do it here? Apparently there's so many thousands of rooms where people haven't paid their money. And I think that we need to start now a row on Wine and Wisdom denouncing all of these people who haven't paid, who actually came home and said they were going to pay for it and did not pay for the 14 days isolation.
Like Anastasia Palaszczuk, who said she'd pay New South Wales for storing all their people and is now refusing the $30 million bill. Good on her. We should name her.
Well, she would be the first name.
Let me ask on leadership. I digress. Well, I don't digress. Why the fuck would you pay whatever, how many thousands it is they try and hit you up for a stay in a hotel room when you hear premiers doing shit like, oh, yeah, I know I said we'd pay for our people, but we're not going to pay anymore. Why would you? Why would you? Because if it's good enough for them.
Because you're going to do the right thing no matter what other people do.
Yeah, I get you. But is that the majority of the world, or is that the minority? I think the majority of people try and do the right thing, but you could understand it's a bloody good excuse to stand up and say, Your Honour, if the Premier of Queensland doesn't have to pay her bill, then why do I?
It's a good point,
I'm
Cam.
not saying I wouldn't pay my bill, but I'm saying why,
Mate, you would do anything not to pay your bills anyway.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I'm a tight and I'm a Scrooge and, all that stuff. But it's a bloody good argument. When the politicians start paying their bills, the people should pay theirs. Right? But if the leaders don't have to, or if the leaders refuse, leaders go first. And most of the shit we've spoken about on this podcast is.
So she's actually refused to pay.
It was a few weeks ago now. This is a bit old news, but that Berejiklian had to send her the invoice for $30 million, and they got up in Parliament and said, "There's no way we'll pay it. Not a chance in hell. New South Wales can get stuffed. It should be the federal government that's paying it, even though hotel quarantine has been a state issue since it started.
Wow.
It's been made very clear, which is why Victoria got so stuffed because Chairman Dan, so." You want people to pay TL, and I get it, and they should because it's the right thing to do. And
the leaders are leading by example doing that.
Good for the goose, good for the gander. And she just got re-elected. So, what inspiration has anyone got to do the right thing? In a very broad sense. I know everyone still should, and that's what we're talking about, and that's the book we're reading, and that's all that stuff. But if that's everywhere, if the leaders can get away with it.
It's a hard point, Cam. On one hand, you're like, yeah, absolutely, she should be paying a bill, but that's no excuse for others not to pay theirs.
No, but you take it back to anything. The girls come out and said the Attorney General raped me. She's committed suicide, and the cops have said nothing to see here. How many people are sitting in jail at the moment because of sexual assaults and rapes? But how many of these politicians in Parliament House at the moment are going to go to jail?
I think on the Attorney General side, it wasn't the cops that made the decision. It was the lawyers, the prosecutors for the New
The
South
cops,
Wales.
the police prosecutors said nothing to see here. There's not enough evidence. That guy, I mean, I think he's going to get sacked now, but wasn't going to get sacked until everyone else started coming out of the woodwork. What I'm talking about the double standards, and we want people to be the best, but when your leaders are being the worst they can possibly be,
how do you hold?
What are we creating?
How do you hold it to a higher standard?
What are we creating?
Good call.
And for the lazy and for the people who don't want to, and because change is hard and growth is hard, and sometimes doing the right thing is hard. Sometimes you've got to sacrifice in order to do the right thing. You go, well, why should I?
Yeah.
Not saying we do that. I'm just voicing, I'm being a bit contrarian and going, why the bloody hell should I pay my hotel bill? No one else is.
On the other side, you said it was almost 12 months to the day. We're being all released out of our restrictions. Everything's being lifted, right?
Yeah.
Monday, you're allowed to hit the dance floor again.
Rita was like, I'm on the phone to Crystal and Veronique and Ange, and we're going partying, we're going dancing, because a lot of people, I think...
Did Rita get the presents for her birthday? Because we didn't know. We thought that maybe
She did.
Oh, she did.
She did.
We thought that maybe the joint kept all the presents.
There's a joint twin birthday party.
No, because
I
I put $1 million in a briefcase there, so I just wanted to make sure she...
Yeah, it's funny, I only got 900,000. I don't know what happened there, sorry. I don't know what happened there. Cam, did you get to the briefcase before? I don't know.
Now do you mention it, I actually told him before I put the presents there.
Mate, I got to a lot of alcohol because I introduced myself to Rita again the next morning. Nice to meet you.
It's good that you had a good night, boys, but... yeah, so the restrictions are lifted. It means are we past this? Now the virus, the antivirus, I should say, is out. The restrictions are being lifted.
They lift restrictions, and then next week there's 2 cases, and they lock everything down again over 2 cases.
Well, they're not. No. They're gonna try not to do that because JobKeeper is
over,
ending,
gone. So here we are. As of the 1st of April, we're starting a new cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so what's going to happen, boys? What do you reckon is going to happen from there?
Everyone's getting credit cards because they removed responsible lending. So that's what's happening. Responsible lending laws are gone this month. Same time JobKeeper goes. So anyone who's in trouble is going to be able to go and borrow money, personal loans, credit cards, all that sort of stuff.
I'm going to disagree with you there, Cam.
And I'll be shocked.
They still make you jump through hoops for any of that. You have to actually show bank statements, the whole lot.
Yeah, but it's changing now, mate. They're removing the laws. And you've always had to show bank statements, right? That's never been a problem. It's what happens when they read those bank statements.
Okay.
They're reverting back to pre-2018 rules, mate.
Okay.
And we all sold houses for people who shouldn't have been able to buy them.
So I don't know. Ask me in a month's time, I'll let you know.
What else has been big?
Well, what do you think is going to happen with the market then? I'll ask you. I mean, JobKeeper, job seekers ending, restrictions are ending, vaccines
No, I don't think that JobKeeper is going to do anything to the market. But I am personally not happy that the market's going the way it's going, because we are not creating a bubble, but we are creating a bubble. Because there's no money going overseas, a lot of money going into the houses, but what happens when the overseas opens? And so I'm not really happy about this. Hence, I'm trying to reorganize our offices and prepare them for that next stage. Because that next stage will bring us to September 2008. Maybe not as big, but it's going to be a correction of all of these housings. I mean, we in real estate, guys, we can still see that some of the houses are going at crazy.
So what's September 2008?
GFC.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember I was running a seminar in Fiji, and we heard that on the first day of Fiji seminar. And that was when Obama then asked for that relief, and George Bush was the president. And this is the thing that we are going right now. Everyone's pumping in money. The media is making such a big deal about New South Wales growth and Australia and this town and that town. every Tom, Dick, and Harry is now pumping as much as he can into buying a house. Then we have JobKeeper gone. Then we have new rectification where the government is now recognizing maybe we jumped the gun and we gave too much when it first started. Well, now this is the opportunity to get it back. And I think there's going to be a few things that the government is going to wash their hands, like Ponce Pilate, and say, well, I wash my hands on this. You guys are going to have to fend for yourself. Then we're going to have carnage. But they're going to control it. I don't believe there will be a carnage, but there will be just a landing.
And by September, we're in a new election cycle. And I've said before on here that I don't think any government trying to be re-elected or get elected, even though Labor was stupid enough to muck around with negative gearing and superannuation before the last election, surely they've learned.
We're very close, man.
To
September.
Yeah. So I
don't believe it's far.
No, but what I'm saying is...
Do you guys realize that we're about to reach the end of the first quarter of 2021?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is
Wednesday.
I don't think any government's going to let the housing bubble that we're in or the boom that we're in blow up just before an election. In a much more simplistic view, I just don't... People's wages aren't going up, so I don't see how the increase in house prices is sustainable. I know money's cheaper, but you need a wage to pay for it, so it's got to level off at some point. As I said last podcast, I believe the biggest worry is the media, because whatever the media says, people tend to listen to, and they've already started talking about the banks moving independently of the Reserve Bank and all that stuff, and it won't be long before that starts cooling buyers' jets. Well, I don't know enough about finance in general, and wasn't 2008. I was early or mid-20s, 2008, so I didn't understand. All I knew was Kevin Rudd was giving us money to buy a TV with. So or
get electrocuted on your roof.
Yeah, or pink bats and all that stuff. So I don't fully understand the GFC and all that sort of stuff. So I don't have that fear. But yeah, what's going on?
So do you think banks are going to move interest rates or not?
No, I don't think it matters, mate. I think whatever the media says. I think it
does.
Look, banks will not move if the Treasury what?
So I think they will. I'm hearing whispers from a few people inside the industry.
That's what the newspapers are saying. That's what I mean.
No, but I'm talking to brokers directly, and brokers direct links with banks and so forth. They're going that the banks are wanting to slow the market. They're going wanting to go independent of the Reserve Bank and increase interest rates.
So why would they want to slow down people coming to them and getting loans, even if they can't afford them, mate? That doesn't make any... well, we're going to raise interest rates because
they want to make the money...
the record numbers...
They want to make the money back they've lost from last year.
The more loans they got, mate, the more they can...
So this is the news I'm hearing, man.
Yeah, but no, but this is the thing that people are relying on us. The 6 million listeners, that's what they want to know. They want to know real good knowledge from three guys talking fake news.
Yeah.
It probably all is fake news, guys.
So when are you saying, Chris? Let's have a. I'll bet you $100.
No, stop betting, mate.
We know how that went for you last time.
Yeah, no, good.
Stop betting because you freaking owe me money.
Rubbish.
I was there listening to Rob's telling me good news, and I'm going, yes. And then he tells me the next bit, I'm going, no.
Yeah, good.
That's not good, man.
That's good.
Now look at him, I'm going, don't say the next
details, bro. When are the banks putting those rates up, mate?
Towards the end of the year.
Bet you.
I probably will say that I agree with Chris, and I believe that they will not want to interfere with the election. They are going to wait, and then around the end of the year, they will just jack it up.
The election's going to be probably March next year. We enter an election cycle in September. He can't call the election. He ain't calling an election at the moment with what's going on in the room.
Our PM is waiting. He's doing the count for the moment.
The meditation
He's
room.
Counting the numbers.
The meditation room at Parliament House, mate. He's not calling an election yet. He's got to go He's got to go meditate on it for 30 seconds or so. I don't reckon that banks are putting interest rates up. Yeah. I don't.
What's going to happen? It's going to happen.
All right, boys, anything else?
That's all from me.
I wanted to ask you just one question. Donald Trump was the best thing that happened to us in terms of news.
Yep.
He was better than entertainment. Joe Biden, 0 in terms of entertainment. But what do you reckon's happening over there, and how it's affecting
You
everything?
know how it's gone very, very quiet because you hear bits and pieces about things aren't going so well, but it's nowhere near the news as if Trump was stuffing things up, right? So I can't even
Because
think
he's
of
screwing up quietly.
No, I don't think he's not screwing up quietly, but because the masses said that Trump had to go and he had to be in, they can't possibly publicise that they might have been wrong about any of it, so there won't be any news.
And a lot of his policies and so forth are placating those in the minority groups that made the most noise.
Yeah, there's bits of that. I mean, don't ask me why, but there's one article that caught my attention was the marijuana laws over there. He's backdated anyone who supported it or admitted to in Parliament smoking a joint. They're now all getting sacked. And after being told prior to him getting in, being told that don't worry if he gets in, your jobs are safe, he's now booted them. And that's because we're back to the war on drugs.
Crazy.
It's gone so well for everybody. So I think it's that, mate.
Nancy Reagan. Here we go.
You wouldn't know what's going on over there because too many people would be wrong if he wasn't the man for the job.
All right, I'm going to entertain myself. I just want to entertain myself. What do you reckon is going to happen over the next 2 weeks? What do you think in the next 2 weeks? What's going to happen here in Australia?
Hopefully, no more rain. I'm serious, man. Like,
are we going to get a first jab?
When do we say we? Who's we?
No, I reckon there's going to be a monumental F up with it, and it'll get pushed back.
Okay, so we're not.
They've already been issued.
Your dad has it been received?
I don't know if he's actually received it, but the nursing home is on the.
They've started, but the rollout was meant. Everyone in that age group or risk group was supposed to have it by now, essentially.
So I have to be honest, I don't know if he's received it or not, but I know that they're rolling it out throughout that chain of nursing homes. I know my sister works at RPA Hospital. She's had her jab, and everyone else is at RPA's had theirs. So they've definitely rolled it out. Okay. I'm just waiting for people to either turn zombies or be cured, and then I'll make a decision from there. But
all right. Here's another thing. Are they going to find a rape on the Labor side?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I'll come back to your initial question. I won't repeat it.
4,000%.
Someone has to be thrown under the bus.
What's today? Thursday. By the end of this week, which is 2 days away, every side of that politics will be implicated one way or another, whether they're just sitting in a corner and watching or who are actually participating. There is no way that it was only Liberals.
Oh, not a chance, man. Not a chance.
And with the pork barrelling
and
stuff...
And the Greens, that was barnyard animals. I don't know.
With the pork barrelling stuff, if I remember, it was about a week before the other side, and then it was 2 days before every side, and then it went very quiet all of a sudden.
What was it? Branch stacking. That's
branch
right.
stacking.
Branch stacking. Oh,
branch stacking.
Unbelievable.
Pork
There's
barrelling.
always something, man, but someone will be thrown under the bus. Will it be the Attorney General? No, I don't think it will be.
It went very quiet, but the dude
the
Premier was in trouble for having a relationship with that guy not that long ago who did all the dodgy property deals. He's just been recommended for prosecution, so he's going to go to jail, which is probably going to undo the Premier, I would have thought.
Gladys.
Yep.
It won't undo. No, mate. People in New South Wales already told her that they back her. She's just going to be visiting the jail and seeing him more often. That's all.
I wonder if she's going to get conjugal visits. I wonder.
That's in the meditation room at Parliament House.
Not a bad wine, mate.
What do you think's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, T.O.? You clearly had something on your mind.
No, I had nothing.
I think house price is going to go up another 32% in the next 2 weeks.
By tomorrow.
No, I think that house is going to keep on flying. No problem. It's going to keep on flying. I think that new car sales going to keep on flying. I think that people are going to be spending a lot of money. I predict that actually over the next 4 weeks, there's going to be a lot of money spent on this $150,000 tax exemption grant before the financial year.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of money being spent in businesses.
Explain that.
Instant asset write-offs and stuff. Businesses are just going to go out and buy.
So business asset write-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what used to be 20 grand, they've made it astronomically. Is it 150K?
Yeah, 150K now, man.
150K instantly.
Instant write-off. It's just crazy.
That's why I should have bought the Ram, because the Ram was a commercial vehicle.
Put up a few signs. All right, boys, thanks very much for
Thanks,
today.
boys.
Cheers.
150 grand. Cheers.
Nice wine.
Bye.